you draw realistically with just one mechanical pencil? Yes, you can, and I'll show you how. Just before we start, as a reminder, all my fully narrated real-time tutorials are on my Patreon. Now it's time to draw our portrait. Let's! In this tutorial, I'm using Strathmore vellum paper, and I also have Tombow Mono 2B lead, and it's 0.5. Also, I have just this little mechanical pencil here. It's nothing fancy, whatever I found at home, really. And I have some blending tools as well. If you ask me why I'm using 2B, it's because by applying more pressure or more layers, you can get up to 4B degree, whereas if you apply less pressure, you can go down to HB shades. And in terms of holding your pencil, if you want to color HB grade, then you have to hold it from the very back and do your shading just like this, very, very lightly. After a while, you're going to realize that the lead gets really sharp. If that happens, just rotate your pencil and continue shading. After we finish shading, we want some smooth results, some smooth blending. For this, I have this cut and roll, and by applying a lot of pressure here with circular motions, I am blending them carefully. With any other pencil too, we will just apply more pressure to less pressure in where the curvatures are, such as in the eyelid, as I'm showing you right now. I'm holding my pencil from the middle or in the back so that I can give all these different kind of pressures. And these kind of pressure differences will create all these different shades of gray. I also use the eraser in the back of my pencil. Well, since it's not an eraser pencil, it doesn't have a very sharp or small point. That's why it's a little bit difficult, and also it creates a lot of dust. So if you have an eraser pencil already, you can use that. One of the advantages of using a mechanical pencil is creating realistic eyelashes, eyebrows, and also some eye lines, because you don't have to sharpen your pencil all the time, because you need sharp pencil for eyelashes and eyebrows. Here you see me drawing all the eyelashes, and you can see that they look very realistic because I can have this thin fine point. So we saw the cut and roll as a blending tool. What else am I using? For the smaller areas, such as the white of the eye or on the eyelid, I use a cut and swap. For larger areas, after I blend with my cotton, I go around it with a tissue as well, so that it has a much smoother result. Here, let me show you how to do the eyebrows as well. Just like what you would do with a graphite pencil, I'm going from the bottom to top, creating all these realistic looking eyebrows, hair by hair, but I'm not 100% committed to my reference photo here. There's no way. I'm just going to put all the hairs exactly where they are, but I'm following their direction, I'm following their density, and wherever they're darker, I'm adding more hair there, and whenever there's lighter, I'm gonna go in with my eraser and just give those highlights. That's it. Our eyebrow is ready in under 2 minutes. This is amazing. Kneaded eraser is definitely important part of realistic drawing. Nothing can replace that, guys. So please do have a kneaded eraser with you for the highlights on the face. Now let's talk about the nose. For the nose, there are some dark shadows on the left part. So in order to give those dark shades, I'm applying my pencil for maybe 2 or 3 layers. And in the lighter parts of the nose, I'm applying less pressure on my pencil. I'm holding it from the very back, and I'm doing maybe 1 or 2 layers instead of 4, 5, or 6 layers. This is how we get different shades of gray with a single pencil. You see the darker shades are where the nostrils are, and after I added those, I want to go over down with a cut and swap instead of like a cut and roll or a tissue, because I want them to stay dark. Once I go over them with a cut and swap and just lock them in, I can go over them with a tissue to just smooth them out. Again, for the nostrils and for the dark shadows below the nostrils, I'm adding just more layers with my pencil. That's what I'm doing. For the jaw area, before I add all my shadows, I need to have my base shade, and I'm blending them, smoothing them out. our base layer is ready. This is it. Honestly, mechanical pencil was also an advantage for the mouth, for the lips, and for the teeth, because you can go into very tiny areas and give still darkness to there, and Tombow Mono Lead is very easy to blend. When it comes to the lip details, such as the lines there or the highlighted parts, it was also easy to give that with my mechanical pencil because I didn't have to sharpen my pencil. I just went in there, I just had like up and down movements, I just had a little bit of shading there, and then that was it. Let me show you how I did those lip lines now by using my mechanical pencil. After I colored the lip, the lower lip is usually lighter than the upper lip, and in reference photo is much lighter. After I created all these highlighted areas with kneaded eraser, I go in with my pencil and look. I create all these tiny little bit of lines by just using a little bit of pressure. That's it. It's perfect. Then I go in with the back of my mechanical pencil, the eraser, and I give all these highlight needed. I'm using a cotton swab here because if I blend with a tissue, then I'm gonna lose those lines and I don't want to. See, it is so easy to add the shadows. The only thing you need to be careful about is how you're holding your pencil, because if you hold your mechanical pencil too tight or apply too much pressure, then you're gonna have these deep grooves, deep lines in your paper, which will be really hard to erase. I want to clarify something when I say more pressure to less pressure. More pressure doesn't mean that you need pressure a lot. What I'm trying to say is just trying to create more layers right here, because you saw that we do one layer of shading, it creates this HB or maybe even B tone, but when we go up a little bit and do 2 or 3 more layers, then it becomes 2B, 3B, just like how we did in the lip. If we do 4 or 5 or 6 layers, then they become 6B, even 7B sometimes. So the key is having the layers, not just putting pressure on your pencil. I talked about my SEP method before, shading, erasing, and blending, and this method works in this mechanical pencil as well. After I shaded, you can see that I'm erasing now with my kneaded eraser. I'm just pushing and pulling and getting all the graphite on my eraser, and afterward I'm shading again, and you will see that I will be blending soon. So following this circle, shading, erasing, and blending, and doing this maybe 4 or 5 times will give you so much depth that your portrait will become so realistic in such a short amount of time. I completed this portrait in just less than 4 hours. It was 3.5 hours, I believe, and my creation SEP method really made it possible in that short amount of time. You see that I'm erasing, I'm drawing, I'm blending, I keep repeating these circles until I get the result I'm satisfied with. Well, the hardest part with a mechanical pencil is definitely the dark backgrounds, because your lead is so tiny, the tip of your pencil is so sharp that it takes forever to do the shading. So I did maybe like 5 or 6 layers here, and I was so impatient. I didn't want to use the tissue because it lightens it up instead of making it darker, so I used a makeup brush here to blend the graphite. But if you want to use something else, definitely you can use some other blending method. But I really wanted to have a really dark background, but of course it's not charcoal, so it wasn't perfect. It shines just like any other graphite pencil. There are some new pencils out there in the market that they shine less. If you want to buy those, definitely go for it, but graphite will always shine depending on which angle you're looking at the photo or under which light, so there's no really running away from it. However, you can definitely add some charcoal dust to, especially to the background, to make it shine less, or you can try to blend it. But around the right eye, you will see that these thick graphite lines are really causing some shine. If I turn off the light now, you will see that the eye is actually the same size as left one, but because of the shine, it looks like the right eye looks a little bit bigger than the left one. Now I'm adding all these dark shadows for the final call, because after I finish all my dark shadows, after I give all my final highlights with my kneaded eraser, then I can go ahead and add the hair. Hair is a little bit interesting in this photo. It's all over the place, but we will come to that in a second. I'm now darkening up all the eyebrows, all the eyeshadows, and all the lip details. Once we are finished, we are gonna add the hair. Now let's talk about hair. Well, mechanical pencil is an advantage here because, as I said before, we don't have to sharpen our pencil all the time to do the hair, and we need to use our pencil sharp when we are dealing with hair. So it is perfect for us. We are drawing the hair one by one here, and as you go down, you can see that this tiny little hair details can be given with a mechanical pencil, which is great. See, for example, for the flying hair especially, this mechanical pencil will create wonders. One thing that we need to be careful about, especially in this photo, is in order to make the hair look realistic, we shouldn't forget the shadows of the hair on the face, because that's what gives the depth. Just like here, I added the shadow on the nose, and there were more shadows on the forehead. And now you're seeing me adding this shadow of this circular hair right below the right eye. After I shaded, I blended with a cotton so that it looks smooth and realistic. You can see that it transitions from highlight to the mid-tone so well. Now I turned off the light so you can see much better. This is how our drawing looks. We did this in 3.5 hours with one single mechanical pencil, guys. You don't need expensive pencils, you don't need hours and hours of work. You can do this. Okay, so we learned that the fact that we only have one pencil doesn't stop us from making a realistic portrait, but there is one mistake that people keep making, especially as beginners. It is such an important mistake that it keeps discouraging you and preventing you from drawing more. This is why I talked about this mistake right here.